Team Rocket and Ash go urban exploring in a turbine station. Ash gets chased by Magnemites while Team Rocket find nothing of any value.
We ain't found any food anywhere.
And I was hoping for a cafeteria.
If you found any food in that building, it would probably be moldy and inedible by now. It makes you wonder if they're desperate enough for food that they would eat it anyway. When you step back and look at it, this show is about two gangs of homeless people fighting over food, resources, and animals they found. They then get chased by a horde of electrodes, which makes you wonder how important the station is that it needs this many Pokemon to guard it. Team Rocket find the head of security, who is an Electabuzz. It's impressive how even though he can't talk, he still comes off as a disgruntled security officer. How many jobs in this world are done by Pokemon? How has this affected the job market and the economy? Do you think there's a movement of people who are displeased that their jobs are being taken by Pokemon? I must have ESP because I thought that Chikorita fighting all those Magnemites would earn it enough EXP to evolve, and that's exactly what happens by the end of the episode, marking the second time that this season has seen a Chikorita to Bayleef evolution. Ash's Bayleef keeps tackling him, and Rocky Balboa projects his feelings from his revolving door of failures he calls his love life, saying that Bayleef assaulting Ash is Bayleef's way of saying it loves him. Those are some dark connotations, Brock.
I'll fuck you till you love me!
While Ash tells Bayleef to stay away while he's holding hot food, Bayleef takes it the wrong way and deserts. After finishing off their recreation of the Last Supper, they try to find Bayleef, and Ash explains that he didn't want Bayleef to stay away that way.
If Bayleef is like a girl in love, logical explanations won't work.
It do be like that, Brock. They reunite with Bayleef, who has been taken in by a woman who lives isolated in the woods, and their Pokemon play in the fertilizer. Gross. Team Rocket show up to steal all the Pokemon in a giant mechanical Bayleef. If Team Rocket has so many of these giant Pokemon, why don't they build an army of them and take over a small nation? On second thought, never mind, don't do that. When that's over, Ash and Bayleef rekindle their friendship, and Ash says he's fine with Bayleef knocking 6 spells out of him. They come across a bunch of street performers who use Pokemon in their acts, including a fortune teller who uses a Natu. As long as he doesn't profit off of people's grief like John Edward or Psychic Sally, it's harmless fun. The episode has a pointless throwback to Season 1, where the same Magikarp salesman tries to swindle James with a Magikarp in the same way he did the first time. Team Rocket decide to start their own production company with the Pokemon they've stolen from the street performers.
Jesse, those Pokemon get to keep 10%?
Of course not. We're agents, so we get a 10% commission.
What?
That sure don't leave much for the Pokemon.
It's still less exploitative than the contracts most performers get. Who would you rather have as your producer, Jesse or Harvey Weinstein? I don't even have to tell you what happens next, so I'll skip past that. They build up the confidence of the son of the Natu psychic by having him perform a show for the kids, so that he can grow up to be that magician you see in the city centre doing card tricks to a mildly amused audience, and having food thrown at him by teenagers while he lives below the poverty line.
Why are you so fucking negative all the time?
They enter a hot air balloon race. Team Rocket enters as well, and Meowth is hell-bent on proving himself by winning it without cheating. The target on the ground makes me think of the airstrike from Worms, which made me want a Pokemon game in a similar style to Worms. Either way, you use the Pokemon as the weapons, or you play as the Pokemon and their moves are the weapons. Think about it, Nintendo. There isn't much I can say about this episode, except that it's funny to see Meowth try to discourage Jesse and James from cheating, while they run on Dick Dastardly logic and can't win unless it's by cheating, even if it means trying to rig the race right in front of everyone, as if that won't get them disqualified on the spot.
What a couple of cocksuckers.
They get approached by a guy incognito who gives them a concealed package to hold and tells them to wait there for him to come back. Careful now, holding undisclosed items for strangers like that is how you end up getting caned in a Malaysian detention centre. They're safe from corporal punishment, pain and shame though, because it was an action movie star who gave them his smoochum to temporarily hold. He has a manager who looks like Lex Luthor and sounds like Oolong from Dragon Ball, who doesn't want him to be seen with his smoochum in public because he thinks it would be bad for his tough guy image.
Do you want to throw your whole career away for some Pokemon?
By the end it gets revealed that he's best friends with a smoochum inside a theatre of fans, but they approve so everything works out. Smoochum even co-stars in his next picture. You laugh, but is it any worse than when Clint Eastwood got an orangutan sidekick in Every Which Way But Loose? That's not a rhetorical question, I haven't seen that film. Has anyone here actually seen Every Which Way But Loose? I want to know if it's worth watching. They meet a woman named Pietra, whose grandma likes to walk into town, but the way there is long and her grandma sprained her ankle the last time she went. Since Pietra can't hire a team of engineers and demolitionists, because I doubt she could get planning permission to do so, she undertakes a guerrilla tunneling operation to make a shortcut for her grandmother and a geological disaster waiting to happen. She uses her rock-type Pokemon to dig a tunnel, but they keep getting repelled by the water spilling out. That's why Pietro wants to catch the nearby swimming Rhydon, because it's strong enough to bust through the mountain and is resistant enough to water. Her name is an Italian word for stone. Nice touch, English dub writers. Team Rocket hear all of this and decide to catch the Rhydon themselves, and they all cross paths when Team Rocket are gorging themselves on a pile of apples. This must be at least the third time this season Ash has met Team Rocket under apple-related circumstances. The Rhydon stomps by and makes them blast off again, only for them to trudge back over a minute later. This season has seen an inflation of blasting off again. In Season 1, when Team Rocket blasted off again, they were out for the count until the next episode. The impact of a blasting off again has been significantly lessened. There'll be like 6 blasting off agains per episode by the end of Generation 3. Anyway, they chase down the Rhydon and boy are they relentless. They send out a SWAT team with their own Pokemon and it's as effective as when the army attacks Godzilla. They besiege the Rhydon, they chase it down on a boat like the Coast Guard pursuing cocaine smugglers. And then Pietro resorts to jumping in the water and hanging on to the Rhydon as it pulls her down like Moby Dick. At this point, she should just tell her grandma to go alone to a bad part of town at night and collect the life insurance afterwards. She bests the Rhydon in a Pokemon battle with her Marill, and uses it to cause the subject of several depressing documentaries in the future when there's an inevitable cave-in. They board a blimp to cure 2 of the passengers' Pokemon. The sick Pokemon are the first Generation 3 Pokes that appear in the anime. A pair of Kecleons. This is pretty subdued for the first screen debut of anything from G3. They just don't make a deal out of it. Weevil Brockyu tries to impress the high-class ladies by giving medicine to their Kecleons. He should have quit while he was ahead because he tries to impress them with his Pineco, which explodes. If they're going to have blimps in the Pokemon world, they need to have more rigorous health and safety checks. Some Pokemon should be outright banned from boarding blimps. Here's what happened last time a Pokemon with self-destruct went on a blimp. When one of the Kecleons climbs aboard the blimp, Brock leaps into action.
I've got to do something to win their love, or at least their pity!
Well, you've won my pity, Brock. At this point, just put a wig and makeup on your Geodude and make do, or you're gonna end up like this. The passengers and crew form a circle around the Kecleons to stop them from getting away, but they find out the Kecleons have been scarpering in and out of the blimp because they have jewelry in their mouths that they were stopping Team Rocket from stealing. If those Kecleons had gone inside Pokeballs, would they still have the jewelry when they came out? I think they would. How would you know without looking though? Pokemon could be used for smuggling operations. Think of all the contraband you could anally insert inside a Tyranitar.